to it, but I have been, it is my journey. It's my journey into data analytics that has really been pivotal in my career success and a part of why I started Be Nimble. So at one point I was in your seat, but probably didn't have an opportunity to, or there weren't opportunities for me to, kind of get that additional support. But I was blessed to be able to be in roles that provided me an opportunity to at least try it. And then I did a lot of independent research to get in there. So you'll be able to feel my passion through this. And I think I want to preface this with, this is very, very intimate in the sense of there are no silly questions. I'm looking to make this as creative as possible. So I have a presentation that's really going to take you on a journey. Please feel free to stop me along the way, because it's very important to me that it resonates and I show you the most applicable and fun side of data analytics, because that was my North Star. And I think that more Black and brown folks need an opportunity to be able to exist on this side. So before I get into my presentation, I just wanted to say that, but then two, wanted to provide y'all opportunity to introduce yourselves as well. And then I'll go last and open up my presentation. So we can just do popcorn. And I'll start. I'm a popcorn with Candace Jackson. What's up, Candace?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? Just introduce yourself to the team, and then, I'll ask everybody to kind of share, something about data analytics that they're either interested in or why they decided to take this course.
Okay. Well, I'm Candace Jackson. I'm actually studying the project management group, but I was just interested to hear the conversation about storytelling and, career pivoting overall. So thanks for being here and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And then you get to popcorn.
Okay, popcorn, Kiana. I hope I say your name right. I'm sorry if I did.
Yep, that's right. My name is Kiana. Same, I'm actually doing the project management course right now, but my mother is actually in the data analytics field. So it is kind of interesting. So I'm just, interested in hearing your story and how it applies to you and if that might be something that I go towards in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you get to popcorn too.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. I'll go with Mike.
Yes. I'm Michael. I'm here from New York. This is definitely all brand new to me as far as data analytic goes. I had a previous career for about 8 or 9 years in sales, doing telecommunications. And my mentor, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar, his name is Terry Morris. He's honestly the one that's introduced me to data analytics recently, and thinks that I would be pretty good at it. So I was like, I might as well try it out and see what it has to offer and see if it's something that I could do as far as, maybe changing my career and, furthering my skill set.
Love it. Okay.
I guess I will go with, as far as my popcorn option, Christina or Christia.
Krista? I assume unless there's an actual Christina on here that I can't see, which is possible. Okay. But I guess I'll steal her space if she is in here. So my name's Krista. I am doing the data analytics course. Currently, I'm finishing up my UX kind of boot camp, and one of the things that kind of got me was that when we were doing building like sites, we had to keep inputting like IDs, and I was asking our teacher, like, what is this? What's the purpose? And she was saying, well, that's more so the data analytics side of the, the back end. And so I was really interested in kind of going that route, as opposed to necessarily sticking with the UI UX route. So I would say next, Nicole.
Hello, my name is Nicole McLean, and I am on the data analytics track. I selected data and analytics because I felt like it was an area where I could learn more and it could add value to my overall skill set that I already have. I'm actually a PM right now in the data and analytics division of my job. So it's like I'm getting the best of both worlds right now, and I'm so excited. So I'm just here to learn more and meet everybody.
Absolutely.
I guess I will pick Brianni.
Okay. Hi. I'm Brianni Towler. I'm in the data analytics course. I decided to take this course. At the time, I was kind of looking to further my mindset. I was a budget analyst for the state of Indiana. And so I was trying to like transition my mindset and kind of increase the like quantifiable aspect of it. So we were doing a lot more operational analytics, even though we were budget analysts. And so since then, I became a controller at another state agency. So now with me being in a management position, it's been even more critical because I am essentially responsible for the accounting side of my business. So tracking everything, budgets, all of that stuff. And so I wanted to take the course so that I could try and find ways that though some of the systems that we have at work are a little antiquated, find some ways that maybe I can get access to other software or utilizing other things through Excel or whatever it may be to continue to utilize that mindset. So.
Absolutely. Is that everybody, or do we have, is Jasmine? Jasmine, have you introduced yourself?
Nope.
What's up, Jasmine?
What's up? How are you?
Pretty good.
My name's Jasmine Weathers. And I am taking the data analytics course. And I chose that because I've actually been working in the mortgage industry for the last 10 years, and we are now kind of in a slow period. So I figured I'd take advantage and learn some new skills. Data is huge in the mortgage industry as well as problem solving. So I thought data analytics would be a good route to go. Hopefully it'll fuel a career transition so that I, can have other skills to be used when the economy shifts the way it is now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, look, I'm happy to have y'all all here. For this, I built my own presentation for you all that we can have access off. And I will tell you that I think it's very important that this not be the last time that we touched. So I wanted this to be an intro, and that I'm happy to continue along this path of us doing some cool office hours where we can do more of these case studies. And I hope it encourages you to continue to explore. And it is my job as a salesman at heart to also those that are currently not in the data analytics program or considering or teetering, I want you to be sold by the end of this conversation. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Not the entire screen. We're going to do a window. There we go. I'm going to present. Let's see. We got Karen here. Admit. What's up, Karen? We're just now getting started. What's up? What's up, Karen? Can you hear us? Okay. Oh, she left. Okay. All good. So yes, today is about data analytics, and we're going to, number one, can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see the presentation, Data with Jeff?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
I can see it.
Cool. It's lit. All right, cool. So Data with Jeff, I'm keeping it extremely basic, and you'll see why. Let's go. Let's get into it. All right. So at heart, I am a storyteller. And I think that it is important that in my 10-year career post-college that I started to embrace that. But in hindsight, had I known that data analytics was at the fabric or is at the heart of it, then I probably would have even considered it earlier on when I was at IU. I went to IU to study business. I graduated in 2012 with a marketing degree as well from Kelly, and I also did business law. But through that product and my journey, my 10-year career, and I would also say dating back to even my time in my first jobs in high school, I've been at least data adjacent. And I've been blessed to work with some of the world's greatest brands, some that I say maybe a little ashamed. Well, not ashamed, but like I didn't necessarily fully stand behind, but they gave me an opportunity right out of college, on up to brands that I'm really proud of, that I've had full-time employment or part-time employment with that I got to represent. And they all make up, and every stint along the way, they've made up different aspects and helped me become the storyteller that I am today, and the data analyst, consultant that I am today. And if you leave with anything other than the North Star, if you don't leave with anything else from this conversation, then what I will tell you is the highest form of a data analytics professional is a storyteller. At the core, and we'll get into the full definition, that's where you've been. So, Mike, I'm calling on you, not necessarily to speak, but you mentioned that you have a sales background. I started out at Altria, which owns Marlboro and Black & Mild, which are the #1 brands in the tobacco industry. I believe it's worth $30 billion annually. It's a Fortune 500 company, and they recruited me out of college. And although it's not tobacco, and I don't even smoke, I believe in people having the right to do whatever they want to, but I was blessed that they gave this Black boy an opportunity, as well as a lot of my friends, to jump off our career. And I'm being extremely transparent. I was making $18 an hour as an intern while I was there, accepted a full-time role as a territory sales manager, came out of college making $56,000. It was actually $57,600 was my starting salary as a territory sales manager. And I lived in Cincinnati. And in that time frame, I was going around stores, leveraging data to be able to sell the accounts. If you think about Speedways, the Krogers, on not actually buying cigarettes from us, they were already buying it. So my journey in sales and data analytics was selling them really on the idea of what items they should carry in their stores and when. So I was really selling programs because they already had an agreement with us to sell it, and it was a very highly profitable business for them. I had a company car. I wasn't paying for the company car, free gas. I'm telling you, it was lit. Like 57,000. Go ahead.
No, I said that's great. Like that's this the way you're telling the story right now, how you even got into it is, I think like my sales background would help.
Heck yeah. And I hope that this helps. Like, dude, I started out in sales, and I'll tell you, like, Altria has one of the best programs, internship programs in the world. It's a world-class program. And at the core of it, not only did we learn a sales model or a sales plan, and I'll never forget it, it was called DARF. Again, DARF. Why I remember that is because it's discuss, analyze, reinforce, and finalize. When I tell you I still live by the DARF model today, and every company that I've worked for might have their own model, but it still comes down to those 4 things. And guess what is at the basic foundation of all of those different processes in sales?
Awesome.
Data. So they had a great program that taught me how to review, look at data, sales performance, and basically then sell my stores on how they could continue to improve their business. So, but it was through that. If you think about it, being a kid who doesn't consume tobacco and seeing the impact that it had on my community, it wasn't like, I mean, I was like passionate about it, but I was blessed for the opportunity. I got promoted, but it was that summer where I was just thinking, I actually got fired. Imagine you're starting to feel guilt and starting to look at other opportunities, and you're praying and all that other stuff. And next thing you know, you get fired from your job after you got a promotion. I got fired because that company car that I had, I was being, you know, the goody two shoes. You know how we are when we're in corporate. We know we got to keep it 100. We can't do like everybody else. So I would back out of my garage, and when I backed out of my garage, I accidentally nicked my Chevy Traverse. I would report that every time that it happened, and they would actually keep that as an actual accident. Well, it caught up to me, and I ended up losing my job because I backed out of a parking spot and somebody hit me. So God forced me out of that role, and I'm grateful for it. But and I'm also grateful for the experience that I had. But from that point on, you know, I was laid off, or I was fired. I had a little nest egg, moved back to Indianapolis, and then I got blessed with the opportunity to work at DHL. So funny enough, DHL is a logistics company that competes with FedEx and UPS. But did you know that DHL is actually the #1 logistics company in the world? They're bigger than FedEx and UPS globally. So through that role, not only was I had a base salary that matched the salary that I had previously, but then I also had commission that I got. So imagine going from nothing to making your base salary that you used to have, but then you also get commission. And the commission, what I brought in, and as you know, if anybody's in sales, a lot of what you bring in is really tied to, you know, what you can sell. And in order to convince people to stop shipping with FedEx and UPS and to ship with DHL, who they little do they know, you know, or they don't know, like it took a lot of sales. But that sales and that persuasion came from what? Data analytics, using data to tell a story that made sense to the business. So as you see, there's this whole thread around how data is helping me, and I'll get into what that tangibly looks like. Fast forward, worked there for a year and a half. I made a whole bunch of money. Like I think, you know, I tripled my salary and commission. I was balling out. I was balling out during that time of my life. Imagine being 24 and making more than 6 figures. I think one year I netted out at around $250,000, and I was like 24 years old. So, I mean, it was a blessing. But what I'll say is I went on a trip to Dubai with my closest friends, and it was out there that I was like, man, there's more to life than just making a whole bunch of money. It's more to life than just selling things that I'm not necessarily passionate about. But around that time, I was starting to do a lot of work on like independent research on like consumers, like learned that there was this study called diversity intelligence where Nielsen was teaching people how to or teaching people about the Black and the Hispanic consumer. And I turned into a nerd. I started reading all this data. I started reading how it was being applied and how big brands were using that to inform their strategy. And I just grew passionate with it. So I ended up quitting DHL and said that I wanted to go work at Nielsen or a company that could provide me an opportunity to do that hands-on. And man, oh man, did it take me a few years to do it, but now I actually get to do that full time. So I spent the time at Kraft Heinz. I work part-time. So Kraft Heinz, as you know, is the #1 grocery food aisle company in the world with on the mustard, A1 sauce. Think about everything in the main grocery aisles. They're the #1 company for it. Trendtech, I did retail account management or regional account management. It was like a software as a service company. Crossmark was actually in 2018 the first company that I was hands-on as doing not sales, but just data analytics. And the role was called Insights Analyst. So cling on to that word. If you're looking for data analytics roles and things like that, cling on to the word insights, and we'll get into what that means. Simultaneously, you'll see that Nike there, that Nike represents. I was working part-time trying to finesse at Nike Town here in Dallas to finesse into a full-time role. So I was working Crossmark. At that time, as an insights analyst, I was making $70,000 annually. And then I was working part-time at Nike. And I'm all into paycheck transparency, but I'm using these numbers because I want to frame how much these analytics and data analyst roles can potentially make you. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm not ashamed. But then I was also working at Nike part-time because I wanted to work in Nike corporate. That was like one of my dream jobs. I wanted to work at Nike. And I also wanted to figure out if I could work for the largest brand ever, the largest CPG company in the world, and that's Frito-Lay, which is where I work today. So between Crossmark and where I'm at today at Frito-Lay, I went to Anheuser-Busch, which is the largest beer company in the world, which owns Bud Light, Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, Travis Scott's brand, Cacti, before that got shut down. Like, it's the largest beer company in the world. And in that role, I was called a sales intelligence. I was on the sales intelligence department, and I was a senior retail business analyst. And my salary there was right around six figures, right a little north of 100,000. But I was in a role that was still a part of the sales department. So because of that, I also got bonus heavily, and my bonus equated to more than $33,000, I believe. So I've just told you that I started my career with a base salary of $56,000 in 26 or $57,000 in 2012. By jumping into analytics, I had a stint where I only made about $70,000, so that's about what, 14 or 15,000 more. From that, on my base salary, I'm not focusing on commission, but specific. This is just the base salary range to making nearly double what I made then, just by being in a role in analytics. And I did that in a matter of 7 years. So I'm gonna pause there. Any thoughts, any questions, any feedback so far?
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome for real.
And now working at Frito-Lay, my official title is I am only an associate manager. I'm a marketing associate manager on the consumer insights team. And my salary is, now I'm a little embarrassed, but let's just say it's the number in the middle of 100 and 200,000. Plus I got a sign-on bonus that was nuts. And now I'm technically a manager of marketing and doing insights full time. So essentially what I'm telling you is there's a growing skills gap when it comes to business professionals who understand and can manipulate data. And it leaves a ton of opportunity for your career growth, just as it did for mine. And because of that, I'm encouraging you to count it up like J. Cole did. My salary has increased 2.5 times what I did since I started, just by transitioning full-time into data analytics. Any feedback, any questions before we get into it? Now I'm curious what your day-to-day consists of and what skills are necessary to be as successful as you've been. I am so happy you asked. And feel free, let's use the chat as an opportunity. Let's use the chat. And mind you, my role, I could make more, or I could have taken a different role. I could have been a sales, like analytics, like I could do the engineering and all of that. But my path is a little different because, and we'll get to my North Star, but I've longed to be a CMO of a marketing company, right? I've longed to be over marketing, and that's what storytellers are. So my path, I was willing to sacrifice making more money, as you saw how long it took me to get here, honestly, in order to go along this path. It was more important to me that I prioritize being a part of a marketing function than just be on the sales side. So as you all know, I'm also the co-founder of Be Nimble. And with that, I spent a lot of diligent time alongside Kelly building out the framework and helping others. It hasn't just been my own journey that I focused on, but even with me not committing 100% to my own career journey, my salary has increased 2.5 times. And I hope that that's something that you can take away from. And it really starts with having a passion and a specific North Star. Okay, let's get into it. So if you haven't heard anything from me, it's all about translating what we've known historically has been so boring and annoying and translating it into something that we can all relate to. So the examples that we'll be using today will really be something that kind of livens it up, because at the end of the day, as I've been saying, data analytics is just storytelling. It's simply turning raw data, so data that you find from various sources, and turning that into an insight or an action item for your target audience. Now, that target audience could be an executive, it could be your manager, it could be your team, it could be a consumer, it could be your ops. You know, like it could be so many different things. Like, but it's about translating data, all these numbers and shit, all this research, translating that into something that can give somebody a takeaway to know how they can do what they should be doing moving forward. And guess what? Black and brown people are the biggest storytellers, are the best and greatest storytellers in the world. So if we know that functionally, just like this conversation, if we know that, bring that to your coursework with respect to data analytics. Look at data analytics as a hurdle keeping you from your own path where you should be. Think about the conversations that go into the barbershop. Think about conversations, the stories in our favorite songs, right? The things that we've discussed previously. Like, think about those things, because it actually really does mirror our abilities. And the barrier, if the barrier is just understanding numbers, man, think about if you just take a couple of months, a couple of years to just break down and better understand how to manipulate, organize data, what that can then translate to. So I break data analytics. So Candace, you asked a good question. I want to simplify this as much as possible. It's 3 types of data analytics. That's period point blank. And they all come with benefits and everything. I'm gonna go through this and then we're gonna come back to this slide and we're gonna make this open-ended as much as possible. Use the chat to drop any questions or things that you want me to discuss, and we will get into it. I mean, we'll get as granular as you want. But it's 3 types. It's descriptive, prescriptive, and predictive. Descriptive, period. It's what happened. That's us saying data analytics that's tell people what happened. Here's a prime example of descriptive data analytics. Adidas sales is down. Adidas sales dropped last quarter. That's reporting what happened. Predictive is what could happen. So predictive is all about, all right, given COVID happened in 2020, right? I was working at Anheuser-Busch. Let's get into it. When COVID happened, what happened to stores? Type it in the chat or blurt it out.
They were losing money.
They closed. They were losing money. They closed, right? So I'm going to show y'all that y'all are already data experts. I'm going to show y'all that y'all are already data experts. I'm going to say that one more time. I'm going to show y'all that y'all are already data experts. All right. Let's say there are 3 channels. Let's say that there are 2 main channels or 3 main channels that beer is sold. Large format, so grocery. Convenience stores, which is small format, like gas stations, gas and convenience. And then there's on-premise, which is what? Bars, clubs, etc. All right. COVID happens. Which of the following shut down? On-premise shut down completely. Exactly. On-premise shut down completely. All right. You're 100% right. So let's say if I'm Bud Light and 50% of my business is in C-store, 30%, or less, yeah, I'll do that. 30% is in convenience, And the last 20% is in on premise, like bars, clubs, ball games, and all that. All right. How much then can we anticipate our sales will be down during COVID? Your analysts, you get it. And the other ones would probably go up, Brianna. You're exactly right. So guess what? Let's take this a step further. Now that we all vibing, we all in this together, we all get it, right? And this is no right or wrong answer. I'm talking about what could happen, right? It's 2020, bars are shut down. All of on-premise has gone away. So we know we're going to at least lose 20% of our business because that's going to shut down. The question is, right? The next question is, will convenience store and grocery stores make up for that entire 20%? There's no wrong answer. Okay. I like Kyra. I like the answer. It could possibly, right? If it's played correctly, right? Now, let's just say all things are true, and it does. Which format will make up for it more? Will grocery get more of the money that's no longer spent on premise, or will C-store get more of the money in on premise? Kyra says grocery. Does anybody think C-store? Okay. Does anybody want to explain their answer? Grocery, because that's where they spend more of their time during COVID. Nicole, what about you? Why do you think C-store has more room to grow?
Well, I think C-store only had 30% to start with, or maybe 20. So
that was grocery.
30. C-store 50%. Oh, it's in C-store. I don't know. I was a little bit.
It's all good.
Yes.
Right. Well, this is what analytics is all about. The predictive, what could happen is really just this. It's us leveraging and using data and what happened in the past weeks to determine what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So think about March 17th when the world shut down, right? Those first few weeks, people didn't know what could happen. But then as sales started to come in and the bars started to come in to shut down, we started to see a trend, right? All right, we could have saw groceries like picking up, or we could see the C-stores picking up, or it's not, really picking up that much. Here, what could happen is saying now that we know what has happened, it is taking these insights, taking this data and this sales performance or what have you to determine what will happen in the future. People, that's extremely important to a business because that helps them determine what assets and how they can maintain or grow their profitability. Have I lost anybody? Are y'all with me? Put a thumbs up if y'all with me. Just say with you, whatever. Like take yourselves off mute because this is like study hall. So blurt it out. Are y'all following me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Here's what actually happened now. Grocery went up and C-store actually declined. Here's why. This is what I didn't tell y'all about the business. Convenience has more of the business, but when you think about convenience and you think about beer and alcohol, what are people doing when they're going to convenience? I'll tell you. Getting gas. That means they're on the go, right? On the go, about to go out, headed to their friend's house for a pregame.
Yeah, whatever's quick and easy.
It's quick and easy. Was that happening during the pandemic? not as much as it was before the pandemic. So with that, also, what happened? When you go to C-store, are you buying a 24-pack of beer? Are you buying a big-ass bag of chips? Or are you buying a small-ass bag of chips in a 6-pack?
The small bag.
Exactly. So what part of the business also went down during COVID? Y'all saying it? Small bag,
Yeah.
singles, 6-packs, things that typically would be consumed during that time. Why are people consuming it? Because they're on the go. You know, it's transition. They're going to parties or they forgot something at the grocery. But when you think about grocery, you're shopping for home. You're probably going to get the larger packs. People are larger quantities. So exactly, Kyra, large quantities also went up. Now in business, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on if you do good with large packs. What if you didn't have large packs? What do you think those businesses was doing during the pandemic? Because data analytics told them, and their data analysts told them that people weren't buying small packs anymore because they're staying inside and they want large packs. What do you think businesses did? Yep, started producing.
Creative more.
Exactly. Now, if y'all follow this next application, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be lit. All right. Fast forward to 22. After COVID. Let's just call it after COVID. What happened to the different channels of beer? Grocery, C-store, and on-premise.
Groceries went down, and the bars and everything went up.
So imagine being the salesperson and you work at Kroger and you just had a hell of a year. And then the next year you had what?
Not so good of a year. That's if you're doing grocery, yeah.
And C-store. What about on-premise? On-premise is lit. C-store is lit. Like, oh shit, we had a soft year. We back now. We back. Because now my numbers is 20% less than what it used to be. And now my numbers is getting back to where they typically could be. So another thing that predictive and what could happen is like determining the impact of these things. And then also, if I'm a salesperson or I'm a data analyst, I'm trying to say, hey, next year going to be a good year for this because it ain't no more COVID and now on premise. But guess what we got to do? We got to protect our grocery business because it's going back down and people aren't buying as many large packs, but we got to protect our share. We still got to do what we got to do. So I spent a lot of time there and you'll understand why. Like, this is where the money is. It's in these three things, but the application of those things. It's not just about monitoring data. It's about making and bringing actionable insights. So like I said, what we just went through, where was that? And then the last one is prescriptive. This is really good because this is like executive and management level stuff. It's not just a reporting on and showing what happened. It's not just about what could potentially happen. It's being a part of the decision maker on being a decision maker on what should happen. Now that we know all this information, what should our business do? And data analytics is at the forefront of making those decisions. I'm gonna pause there. Y'all got any thoughts, any feedback, questions?
So basically, you're just asking like what they should do from now based off of what happened during COVID, like based off of like the data that they found and seeing what happened to businesses, like how we should move forward. Is that the question?
Exactly. Yeah, that's an example. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking that you just, you got to look at your past history of data that you have to avoid to have any losses of sale or anything like that within your business in the future. So I mean, I don't know how they would go about that specifically, but that, you got to learn from your mistakes, basically.
Exactly. because the salespeople, and that's where data stops, and like quantitative and like qualitative, like you're having relationships with customers and knowing the past can help you support your decision making. It's a whole framework. And I'm not saying that data, and you should never rely solely on data, especially if you don't know the why behind it. Because what I basically just said was, what if just sales, if we didn't consider COVID or anything else and you just saw your sales was down, executives in the world would be like pissed off, like, why are your sales down? But then once you start to think about the why behind it, which is the true value that I want you all to push forward with respect to your North Star in data analytics, then you become invaluable and you help the business make better decisions and you're going to make more bread. It's just all better for everybody. So don't look at yourself as somebody that's just reporting and typing out data and shit like that. You're more than that. You're a storyteller. What if I told you that I had all that and put that in a presentation and it was like, you know what I mean? And it had a whole bunch of data. Data becomes support. Like, it's not even the main factor. It's just about, do you know your numbers well? All right. So I know I told the story, but it's extremely important that, when I say North Star, I mean, what is your main goal? Like, it's not to, it's data analytics, but your North Star shouldn't be just to pull data. And we'll talk about the daily tasks here because I think it'll apply. But it's like, what is your long-term goal? And when you look at data analytics, what is the maximum thing that you can do when you're doing, if that is the core of your job, being in data analytics? It's not just pulling and extracting data, the dirty work, but it's becoming extremely valuable. It's presenting presentations, it's sharing and making recommendations, it's being a part of the problem solving, and it's creating the research projects. Now, mind you, everybody might not have that same North Star, but I wanted you to consider what is the maximum North Star you can have. So I'll break it down now that we kind of know the three types of data analytics. Across that, there are groups of daily tasks, day to day, that I've had to do and or really like serve at the core of your role when you're a data analyst, or what people will say is a data analyst. Dirty work, creative work, and extremely valuable work. Dirty work, it's extracting and cleaning. So extracting means data comes from multiple sources. I'll use the grocery store. I'll use chips now that I work at Frito-Lay and Pepsi. It is the collection of Kroger has data that's sold in store. Speedway has data. All these different retailers have data on what they sold from Frito-Lay, from Hot Cheetos to Doritos. And I just mentioned 2 different brands. We've got 20 plus brands, like 30, hundreds of SKUs, and we've got thousands of different retail partners, right? So if that's the case, if you represent one brand, you have to understand how that brand performs across your entire portfolio. So when people say extracting, it is taking the data from all those various sources, putting that together. So that's pulling a report. So I bet y'all are thinking like, damn, so like Kroger has data and such has data and you got to organize all that. That's a whole bunch of work. Yes, it is, but also no. Because there's actually platforms out there, and I'm going to use only CPG, which is consumer packaged goods, food, gas, beer, and those things are food, beverage, alcohol as an example, because that's my lived experience. And I think that's one of the more creative things. And we'll use like sneakers as well to like really tell a story. There's a platform called IRI, and I live in IRI, especially back in my roles where I was extracting and cleaning and doing the data work, the dirty work. And IRI is a platform, and I'll put this in the chat. Okay. Do y'all see that? So IRI is a platform that buys the data from the retailers. So they have all the raw data, they collect all the raw data, and then people that work for brands and those retailers then can go into IRI to see how they are performing and or get a universe of all of performance across those different brands. So when you think about, damn, how does Nike know how Adidas is performing? Or how does Cheetos know how Utz is performing or Rap Snacks is performing? Or how does Kroger know how HEB is performing, or Kroger knows how Marsh or Meyer is performing, how they're performing in Indianapolis, and they want to compare their business and performance to their competitors. How do they get that? It's because they're buying that data from IRI, who purchase that data from all those brands and organizes it. Consumer data is the same way. I'm just using sales performance data as an example. So you'll spend your time doing that, but then also cleaning data. So this means, what if, I'll use a real life example. Costco doesn't report in IRI. They don't sell their data to anybody. Dollar General keeps theirs private as well. But if you're a brand, you can get their data. So if you want to know how Sam's Club and Costco are doing in comparison to each other, and you're the Cheetos brand manager, you're going to have to pull your data from IRI for Sam's Club, and you're going to have to pull or get some data, raw data from Costco, and then clean it and or organize it to be able to compare it. So when I say clean, it's like that. Or you're getting a file. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. You get CSV files and you get Excel files. So comparing CSV files to Excel files is another thing, right? Because if they come in different formats, you got to make all the formats the same to be able to get to a point where you can organize it and report it. How long does it take to clean it? It all depends on how much data you're working with. Yeah. So it could take, you get good. I mean, let's say I spent all day cleaning data before. I've spent 15 minutes cleaning data. Here's the value of it. I don't care what nobody tells you outside of data analytics. Learn Excel. Excel, Excel, Excel.
So the ins and outs, the shortcuts, the formulas, everything regarding the pivot table and etc.
Yep. Man, I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm lit like that. I'm about to show y'all something. Don't tell nobody.
Go ahead, do your thing.
I think y'all deserve to see it. I'm gonna give y'all a real life example of how my life looks right now. And this is sloppy, but it is an example. Which file can I use? Stop sharing real quick. I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna reshare. We're gonna get back to the presentation. All right. Let me stop sharing this one. Actually, I want to share a different one. Act like I didn't see this. Okay. Can y'all see it? Say no, even if you can.
No.
Okay. Here's another part of my job. And typically I don't do a lot of dirty work, but sometimes it requires you to do dirty work so that you can get to the insights. What I'm showing you is occasions, is rows of data. This is a light day for an average person that does dirty work. I'm only working with 8,600 lines of data. Each column represents something that I might want to compare. So I'm gonna give you just a framework of it. Occasions is lunch isn't like what you eat at lunch. That's considered an occasion. I study why people eat what they eat when they do to help our brands and companies understand what our brands and the company know what roles our brands play in people's lives and help them determine what then does innovation look like and what then should we be focusing on or what we need to be better at. It's crazy, right? So this data is actually what consumers gave to us reporting on what they ate and when they ate it. And we've got their age, we've got their age groups, their gender, if they have kids, where they live, the divisions, their ethnicity, their where they live, urban, suburban, income levels, age class, employment, lifestyle, meaning if they're young, getting started. Like we get all this data, man, like guys and gals.
Jeff, I have a quick question.
Yep.
What's the data source? Is it survey? Is it?
This is custom survey research.
Okay.
So we worked with someone who surveyed a panel of people that they had, and we had them study and report on what they did. They gave us that data, and then I organized it. And we call these things occasions. This is unique to our business in general, but the occasion is like why you eat things. So it's called occasions are these things here. Look at this column. It's energy, indulgence, nourishment, satisfaction, or uplift. When y'all eat hot Cheetos, for the sake of time, when we eat hot Cheetos and hot chips and like chips in general, it's typically because of it's indulgent. Or maybe we're trying to uplift or we're like be energized and have a great time, right? You wouldn't eat hot Cheetos if you need energy, right? Nourishment. You might eat these things, to help you feel satisfied or to be a part of a healthy lifestyle. Or satisfaction. You just need something to hold you over. So I study the occasion and the reason why people eat what they do and when. So I use that to show you this, which again is sloppy, but Excel, somebody asked me what type of formulas we use. I use equations like this. If statements is a big one. Example, if AK2, meaning the column next to it, equals uplift, say yes. If not, say no. I'll look at VLOOKUPs. So if you're not in Excel, these are the things that you probably need to get good at real fast. If statements, VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, conditional formatting. And we can go on and on and on. We can follow up and do another follow-up. I think that would be a great class to do, Excel, because it's the most applicable thing. It's the one thing that I still do in my life now more than ever. A big example of why I had to clean this data. This data came in at the brand level, and I didn't know which one brands were Frito-Lay brands. So if somebody came to me and said, well, where do most Frito-Lay occasions sit? I couldn't tell them. I had to clean the data up. So how did I clean it up? I did an if statement. I could do a VLOOKUP. I got a list of all of our brands, and next to it, it says Frito-Lay. So then I did a VLOOKUP, which said if, like, basically look up the value next to this. If the value says Frito-Lay, put a FL in it. So then I can go into a pivot table, make a pivot table that I then get to sort and organize based off of the fact that it's in Frito-Lay. These are pivot tables that gets to organize it. And the cool stuff is that I organized for this project essentially was, for middle income or high income people, here we go. What type of occasions do they have the most? You see these groups here? It's raising teens, Gen Z, and heavy permissible. Let's focus on raising teens. Raising teens, this is total. So this is all businesses, all brands. And for Frito-Lay, this is how we perform across those occasions for raising teens. So people who have teenagers basically over-index on this occasion, on indulgence. And that would make sense, right? So because I know the background on that, but if you have kids, they're probably like hot stuff. They like things that are more indulgent, right? Ice cream floats, they're willing to try things, Takis. So we'll take that data to be able to say, hey, for raising teens, 24% or 24% of all occasions or times that they're eating things, it's really driven by indulgence. 36% of uplift, right? So if that's the case, how are our brands that qualify as uplift and indulgence performing? And are we weak there? How do we make sure that they're meeting their needs? So I'm gonna stop sharing because that's definitely too much. But yeah, that's kind of like how it can be applicable. Let me get back to my presentation now. Any questions while I get back there? Okay. Let me get back to sharing. Feel free to jump off if you have to. I know we're kind of going over time. A tab, let's say your entire screen. Yep, a window. We're going to this window. All right. So that's more of the cleaning, extracting, and the organizing. That was a great transition to organizing, actually, and reporting. So organizing and reporting looks like that, where I'm organizing the data for people to be able to read it. That involves a lot of times creating pivot tables or data visualization tools. Look up things like Power BI. That's a visualization tool, but it's reporting on unorganized data. It is going back to our Bud Light example and beer example. It is saying, cleaning up all the data from all the different retailers and all the channels to be able to come to the conclusion that 50% of our business is in grocery, 30% of it is in C-store, and C-store's business is down 5% this year. Grocery's business is up 15%. That's reporting. It's telling people the news. Organizing it is getting it to a place where you can tell them the news, and then creating a data visualization tool is a place where you basically save yourself time and people who are looking at your data time. Instead of having to reach out to you to report all the damn time, there's one place that keeps the data. So you're hitting a button like refresh, and it populates with the newest data, and they get to use it and read it and do it themselves. So that's what creating data visualization tools are about. And then lastly, valuable. So I labeled it as valuable, but just like this, I spend a lot of my time not in doing the data work, the dirty work, and the creative as much. I spend, and why I mentioned 100K plus, and where I sit right now, it's here because it's the most valuable aspect. I spend most of my time here. This can get you promoted. This is going to make you stand out and get into the business. This creative piece is going to get you promoted because you're saving time and you're reporting the news. The valuable pieces was going to make you have longevity and really separate yourself and become a director and an executive in this space. And no matter what industry it is, if you can do these things at a really good time, because at the end of the day, directors and executives are about making decisions, insightful decisions. So that means creating presentations like the one that I created today for you all. There was data behind all of these numbers, and you don't see that. All you see is these numbers and the story. And then creating research projects. Yep. Does visualization include graphs of the info given? Absolutely. It can include conditional formatting, meaning if businesses is down, the graph will be red, or the chart will look red. If business is up, it looks green. It could just be a list of numbers. It's an index. It can look so many different ways, and I'm happy to show you what some of those things have looked like in the past. But yes, that is what you do. And it's the better you are at Excel and things like that, the better your visualizations will look like, because you get to create pivot tables and or Power BI and dashboards like, what are the competitors for Power BI? But they're basically the visualization tools that feed from these raw data files and organized reports that you get to use to basically show data. So it's less about numbers and just more like up, down, 25% this, 30% this for a quick read. Because at the end of the day, the numbers matter because that helps us quantify the problem or the success. But at the end of the day, it's about what are we going to do about it moving forward. So it's about presenting and being concise with that. Dirty work, you can, depending on the industry and what level, I mean, you can still make six figures. You can still get 100K plus, honestly, doing dirty work. But it's boring and it can be laborious. You can spend all your day doing some unorganized stuff. I'll say a good range for the creative. So the organizing, reporting, and the creating data visualization tools. So like roles that I did at Anheuser-Busch and at Crossmark, I was making just right around six figures when I left there. And you can be anywhere from a senior analyst on up to a manager doing that type of work on a regular basis. And in CPG and some of those competitive industries like consumer goods and sneakers and apparel or a data analyst, business analyst at a tech company, you can make upwards of 100K. Depending on your geography and all that, you can make substantially more. And I'm not saying it's limited to this, but this is what you can anticipate is like a standard average of those things. And then lastly, doing the consulting work. I mean, that's when you become a director, senior managers, and executives. And people over my department, like I said, I make 150 plus or so right now. The person I reports into makes north of 200,000, probably closer to 250, 275. The senior director is probably making just north of that. They are getting bonuses that double their salary. I mean, shit, you can make a lot. And then a CMO is somebody that barely touches any of this, but is a data analytics person at heart and an insights person at heart, and he or she is making into the millions. A brand director, a brand manager. So just putting that in context, there's really no limit to how much you can make if your average of your skill set, it starts at data analytics. And I like the fact that we have people on the call who are doing project management. I'll tell you, I do more project management than I do dirty work these days. It's organizing calls, presenting, keeping up with people. We're going in and we're collaborating with respect to different departments. I'm the insights guy. I'm the data guy. That's part of one of my roles. Or I'm managing a project. One project I'm working on right now is we want to understand if there's an opportunity, if we have a right to play in the protein category. I've worked on a project recently. Don't tell anybody, but Doritos is coming out with a cracker in 2024. So I studied and did the research to determine if there was a way for us to compete in the cracker aisle. Would consumers like a Doritos cracker? So that takes doing research with consumers, that takes understanding how well it's going to perform. But not only could we compete in it, would it be successful, right? But what could it look like? What are the things that should be in our messaging when we market it? What are people looking for from a cracker when they consume a cracker? Those are the types of things that you can do. So yeah, that's the work that I spend my time doing. And that requires me to work with the Doritos brand team. Even though I'm in marketing, that's a brand manager. That requires me to work with the innovation team who's just focused on what will the next flavor be for a brand. What will the next form be? A Doritos cracker versus Doritos flavored tortilla. It's all that. It's what led to Cheetos having a puff versus a regular crunchy chip. Like those are the types of things that you get to work on. And the root of all those decisions is data analytics. So I'm gonna pause there. Any thoughts? Any questions?
Sounds like an interesting role to be in.
Man, it's been the time of my life, man. And it can be stressful because you're managing people People are challenging you on data. You're challenging them because you think you are the data person, you are the insights person, and they are more creative or they got a goal. So you got to do a lot of reiterating and confirming, because they might have a stupid idea. So you got to use data to not tell them that they dumb as hell, but make a recommendation on what they should do instead. But you can't just tell somebody that, especially when they're emotionally tied to a decision, when they're trying to be the next best this or leave their mark. But having data helps you guide them. So, man, storytellers and insights people really run companies, and you would never know. And that's why I wanted to frame this underneath this, guys. And then the next slide is really about the next spot. Do I find the data that we use represents people of color accurately? Yes and no. Here's what I would rather say. People don't use, there's data. If I just threw numbers out at you, right? There's a reason behind those numbers. Let's go back to Anheuser-Busch. If I told y'all now, somebody blurted off. Actually, matter of fact, everybody get off mute. Everybody, and I just want y'all to blurt this stuff out if you know the answer. Okay. So I'm serious. Yeah, like it's lit. If you know the answer to this, blurt it out. COVID happened. And on-premise business dropped. Why did the business drop? Safety.
They closed.
People aren't leaving now.
Exactly. So let's take this back to your question, Kyra, around POC, people of color and data. What if I told you that the data says Black people don't eat healthy snacks?
I would think that's not true completely.
Absolutely disagree.
But if the data says that
The data says
of 100 people that shop this, only a couple of them are Black, and then the Black people don't really like it, they're not coming back. Does that mean that they don't eat it?
nope. It wasn't a big sample of
The
Black.
sample size. Yeah.
Huh?
The sample size.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I love that, y'all. I love that. And that's why another reason why I'm so passionate to be at the table. What do we know about ourselves? We as people of color know more about us. It can help explain the data. We need more of us at the table to be able to advocate for us. When you think about healthy snacks, it's also about availability. When y'all go into a gas station in the hood, what type of chips are in there?
Crack snacks.
No healthy snacks.
Outlaters.
Salty, sugary trash.
Exactly.
Trashy
So
snacks.
yeah, we
Not good.
like those types of things, but will we eat more healthy chips if they were available? Possibly.
Possibly.
What if they made a healthier chip that also appealed to us more?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
I agree.
More flavor and
You can get spicy without the terrible coloring, right? Matter of fact, I want y'all to do. Y'all got homework. Go get a bag of popcorners. Y'all grandmama and them used to eat rice cakes, didn't they?
Yeah.
Y'all used to tell y'all grandmama and them rice cakes. Popcorners is a chip that looks similar to Doritos, but it's a healthy alternative, and it kind of tastes like rice cakes.
Quake.
Yeah,
I seen them.
You know, them things good.
they good, right?
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Where do y'all find them at right now? Kroger.
Kroger.
Regular. We got Wegmans out here. We got Wegmans.
Y'all ain't seen them in Marathon though. What
No.
they ain't
Nope.
in Marathon?
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
So boom. So look, this is what that's about. So great question, Kyron. Like that is the power of us being in data analytics and insights. It goes more than through that. So if you worked for Popcorners, Frito-Lay, because Popcorners is one of our brands, and you got hired and you become the Popcorners brand manager, and Popcorners is blowing it out of the water. And they're like, I don't think we can grow anymore. I don't think we can grow anymore. And you go out here and figure out, and they ask you, how can it grow more? One of the things that you might be able to say is what?
Appeal to
Are you
people of color.
Are you reaching people of color?
Right.
Data might say you're not. You get to go out there and commission research, put that product in front of Black people and Hispanic and Latino and say, hey, have you tried this? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? How does this compare to all that? Take all that data, organize it, create a report, a visualization tool, present that to the senior director over household builders and the side of the brand that support those healthier permissible items and say, hey, Popcorner still has more room to grow. We can penetrate more households by reaching the Black audience. And here's what we're going to do. The Black audience said that they actually like it, but it's not available where they are. And they like the flavor that they get that they're eating healthier without sacrificing the taste that they love. So I feel we should launch a spicy queso version because they like spicier options in their chip profile, a spicier queso option of Popcorners. And if we do that, we will reach more households that we haven't reached before. They sign off on it. The data supports it. You did the research. You go out. Spicy queso blows up. You've reached more Black people. You've grown our overall business. And they didn't even think that we could. And boom, now you're a shining star.
Right.
I like Jeff, that. You done went to work.
Yeah. They gonna come out with that in the near future or what?
So spicy queso.
we looking for it.
Spicy.
They already got
queso.
it.
There is a queso. So I want y'all to go try it.
But honestly, skills right now.
But honestly, if y'all see a lemon pepper Ruffles come out, it's probably because I was advocating for it with our innovation team.
Come on, Jeff. Hey.
Because like, why is lemon pepper on chips? Black people love lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper. I was surprised with what were those, the Kyrie's and the Ron's. I like both those little flavors.
Exactly. Yeah. See, now imagine if we take that a step further and lemon pepper is big in our communities and people are overlooking that. So there is still opportunity for innovation and reaching more consumers that we might not have reached, right? Or getting more households or increase the amount. Because growing doesn't always mean reaching more people. It could be also getting the people that you already have to buy more. So just a thought, right? But I just use that as a funny example on how data is helping inform those decisions.
So what does it look like to do just that? Instead of they buy a small quantity, they buy bulk. Is it like pricing? Are you doing coupon rates or agent numbers, or is it a whole different data
to get people
that has to be gathered?
Oh, to get people to buy it?
Okay.
You mentioned that growth or scaling doesn't always mean like your, I guess, bandwidth. It can mean band length, like so deeper.
Yeah, exactly. I got you.
So how do you get people to buy more of a product? Like, what is the data behind that, the science behind that?
Absolutely, man. And that is what you would actually do. I can share that with you. That's going to help. But you get to help solve that. It could be pricing. Is the price too high? I'll use an example. We're working on the protein category, as I mentioned, and where you're looking at Quest, which is a competitor, and they have a healthy alternative to a potato chip. And it's called Quest, right? And feedback is saying that it tastes a lot like Doritos, but it's healthier, right? And people said that they would actually eat more of it, but it's expensive. So typically, if they eat chips every day, they eat chips damn near every day, but they can only buy Quest once a week or twice a week, or they only buy a big bag of it and spread it out throughout the week versus buying the smaller bag and buying it every day because it costs like $2.50 for a small bag. But if you're used to eating Doritos and they $1.49 for that same bag, you're like, damn. I mean, yeah, it's healthy, but it's expensive to eat healthy. So I'm not gonna buy as much. So that could potentially be why. Or it could be, and you were talking about coupons, or maybe it's not even about the price, but it's about messaging. Maybe they don't have mental availability, right? Like maybe when you're thinking of a chip, what brands come to mind. So that comes into marketing. So it's marketing on the other side. It's about communication is what they call it, right? It's are you putting this where consumers are? Do you have retail engagement? Meaning maybe you just need to put it out in the aisle and you need to do some activations in stores where have y'all ever walked the grocery and y'all see that there's like a display or something out on the floor? So yeah, you can get Doritos in the aisle, but it might be a Doritos display for Super Bowl out in the middle of the aisle. That type of brand awareness are different actions that people can take. But you as a data analyst is trying to uncover what it can be or what it could potentially be, and then people go out and try it. Because at the end of the day, we don't fully know for sure. It's about being confident in the strategies and tactics that we do and review it to see if it did perform better because of those things or if it didn't. It could be about flavor. Because if I'm the brand and I want more people to buy Ruffles, what about the people who like Ruffles would buy Ruffles if there was a flaming hot Ruffle, or if it was a spicy nacho Ruffle or a lemon pepper Ruffle? They're not buying it. They're only buying it every now and then because they got like this one flavor, but they get tired of that flavor. They like to see more excitement from it. Some people actually are buying things out of excitement. You would gain trial. You could get more consumers if you had better selection. So it's many ways, man, Michael, to actually get to uncover how people can buy more. But it's that. Then in the other way, to get people to buy more or to expand households, it could just very well mean that right now you can only buy popcorners at Walmart, or you can only buy it in Target, or you can only buy it at C-Store. So maybe people don't shop there. That only represents of 100 buyers, only 20 of them actually shop at Target. So you're missing out on 80 other buyers because they go other places to buy their chips. So it's making sure that you could get to where they are, where they're currently shopping, and getting distribution in those places. Like, for example, Wrap Snacks. You rarely see Wrap Snacks in Kroger or Walmart or those places, but you'll see it at C-Store. So Wrap Snacks strategy to grow might be about making sure that they get into the big box stores because they're only available in the hood shops. But, you know, like the gas stations and marathons.
You think we'll ever see Wrap Snacks in the bigger stores?
Maybe, or they might get acquired. Who knows?
Right.
So, but that's kind of what it is. So, and we please continue to answer questions. I'm happy to stay on as long as y'all want to stay on. I can't believe y'all been on this whole time. Let me do a recap because I know I saw a few people that have come through. Let me start here. It's a growing skills gap, and we'll get to my last slide and we can continue the conversation. What's up, Q? I saw that you joined, so this is really about you and a few others that I saw pop on. We're talking about where I've been. These are all the brands that I've worked for directly or with Nike and Finish Line. I worked there part-time. I worked at the actual Nike town, and my roles up here were more sales roles, but this role here where I currently am and all these roles, I've been in data analytics under the guise of consumer insights and sales intelligence since then. And that's the data analytics side. So we've been spending time talking about how with the different types of data, as well as like the value. So I shared with people that my starting salary was $57,600 right out of college. And I was doing sales and leveraging data. And now I deal in data today and I make 2.5 times as much as I did then. Now that I'm in data full time, juxtaposed against marketing. So there's a whole growing skills gap. So a lot of people are looking for people who can manipulate, share, and report and create and make recommendations off of data. And that's why there are high-paying jobs associated with it. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to work with Excel, but are making six figures and or have historically been in those roles. But with brands and things like COVID happening and it impacting the business, you just need people who can help you dive deeper because the example to like it might be harder to grow, especially when you're a larger business. Like how do you grow, get to your next billion when you already are in 99% of households? Like it's in the data and the insights to tell you how you can get to 100%. Data analytics, Q and others who are late, it's really just about storytelling. It's turning that raw data into actionable insights for the people that you're reporting to or your target audience. And that could be managers, executives internally, or externally. It could be to consumers and your audience. And then there's 3 types of data. Descriptive, so that's telling people what happened. Predictive, which is telling people what could happen. Forecasting, think about foresights. It's all about, all right, now that we know what happened in the past and what's happening today, this is what we predict will happen in the future if we don't do or if we do. And then prescriptive, it is what should happen, or another word to say that is make recommendations on strategies and things that we should do. So with those data, different things we just went over, would those be different data analytics teams or different projects for one data analyst? It depends on how the business is set up. There are different departments. So we have sales reporting departments. I'm gonna use Frito-Lay as an example. We've got an IT department, and the IT department might be focused on data analytics as it pertains to our internal processes and data. We've got the sales that's just focused on sales reporting. So they might have data analytics on that side that's just focused on our sales performance. Then you got people like me and a whole bunch of marketers and insights people who are focused on those projects. It's about marketing, it's about sales, it's about innovation and products. So it just depends on how the business is set up. And I know tech companies and tech industries will be set up a little differently, but they have different things that they're reporting on. And then we set this up here. I think this is where you came in. 3 different types of daily tasks, like dirty work. So that's extracting and cleaning. That's finding the data to report on. Creative is about organizing and reporting and creating visuals about the data that you've found or has been pulled for you. And then valuable, like the presentations, sharing insights and making recommendations like, we should launch the next lemon. We should launch the next flavor for Ruffles should be a lemon pepper ranch or a lemon pepper flaming hot. Right, like that. Those are the different types, and they each come with different ceilings and capacities and ranges for salaries. The most valuable piece is here, and it honestly requires the least amount of.
I was about to say that looked like the best part of it is the director and executive.
Exactly, and in fairness, what I did was I organized this based off of what their ceiling is. You know what I mean? Because I do a lot of this now, and I'm technically just in the manager role. Gotcha. And I report into a director, but I do director level stuff. So it's only a matter of time. So it just depends. This is fluid. It doesn't work for everybody, but I can tell you directors and executives aren't pulling and extracting data. Like that's like somebody being, not to be funny, but that would be like somebody, an executive at Amazon pulling packages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean that it's not valuable and you can't make money and you can't be doing, but it's very entry level because executives and directors is about what we've been spending time doing. And that is making recommendations based off of the data that has been cleaned up, organized, and reported on.
Gotcha.
So I've got 3 different case studies, if y'all have time that we can go over, honestly, and I'm just opening it up because there's really not much here, but to give you a range of like how data is being used to make decisions in a fun way. Like there's so many other ways, but I just want to focus on these because it's like good examples. So let's look at this one, Doritos Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch. That is innovation. So insights and data analytics led to the Doritos brand coming out with the Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch flavor. And so we already kind of went through an example of what could lead to that. It also could be, this is the Super Bowl ad. Did anybody see the Meg Thee Stallion Cheetos Super Bowl ad?
Yeah.
Insights also determines who marketers and brands partner with. It also determines what a Super Bowl ad would look like. Like I work with and have been doing work for our upcoming Super Bowl ads. I work adjacently to the senior manager who's over that, and he reaches out to me to help him think through what it could potentially look like. Data analytics and insights also lead to what's on your playlist. When you log into Spotify, Apple Music, and those places, that Rap Life or that Agenda, their insights led them to put those specific songs on the playlist.
So basically, how I get it is, in a nutshell, is just numbers behind social sciences, like the psychology, but the numbers behind it. You know, a group of people, 5 people, that's a number behind whatever that group of people does. And we take that and formulate a game plan around it to market to them.
Exactly. That's it. You just put it in a nutshell. So people who will be good at this is, like I said, storytellers, people who love marketing, storytelling, sales, people who study psychology, sociology, behavioral science. Data analytics touches all of that. It's not just dirty work and pulling reports. And that's what I wanted everybody to take away from this. So I'm gonna stop sharing. I appreciate y'all. I'm here as long as y'all want to be. So if anybody had any questions or any thoughts and wanted to continue conversing, I'm here.
Thanks for the quick update.
No doubt.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, this was great. Yeah. So we'll be updated again when you'll be trying to speak with us.
Absolutely. I think we could do a couple different things. Like, I'm already in that chat. So if y'all have questions, my email address is Jeff@Be Nimble. The sake, I'm just going to drop my Be Nimble one instead of my Pepsico address. But yeah, I'm game. I think Kelly and I'll be in Lisbon, Portugal next week. But the following week, we could set up time. We could do this once a month, whatever we like to do. I'm not here I can teach and I can study, help you all along with the coursework. But I really want to help and be a part of the journey that keeps you encouraged with why you're, when the work and the coursework gets started, keeping you pointed to, or gets hard, to keep you pointed towards where you want to go. Because there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm telling you, it's lit over here. And we need more of us in these roles.
I want to give a dope story real quick because I've been doing some classes with Be Nimble for about a year and a half or so. And y'all, I was able to jump off the porch with a pivot table. I just randomly hit Jeff one day and was like, hey, I got this job I'm applying for. What do you think I should do? It's like, I told him the type of job. He was like, all right, hit him with a pivot table. I'm like, okay. So I didn't want to tell him, but I actually had to look it up to see how to do it. So I did the pivot table. I got the job. And then a year later, I'm now in data analytics, and I have doubled my previous salary. Like, no lie.
There you go. Congratulations.
And I'm not, thank y'all. And I'm not even done yet, right? I'm like,
that's right.
Keep going. What I need.
That's a real story.
Money.
DM me on Twitter.
Turn off.
That is nice.
Hit me up. And then she had a question about, matter of fact, because you ended up doing the pivot table.
I did.
But then you asked me about a formula. I was like, look, if you want to take this to the next level, put this formula in there.
Yep. I didn't know Jeff like that. I just knew he kind of was, knew his way around a computer, right? So I was like, I'm gonna reach out to this guy on Twitter, and he looked out, y'all. So it's for real.
That's awesome.
That's tight.
I didn't know nothing about you doubling your salary. I knew you got the job, and I was hyped, but I didn't know all of that. So, damn, you just made my day.
That's tight. I gotta give a shout out to my best friend. She's not on here right now, but she's busy traveling with her new job. Because ever since we started classes, She just accepted a new job. It's based out of Utah, but she's remote. But they, her name is Anisha, so they send her off a lot of places in a tech company. She's actually right under the CEO.
Wow.
Right, like she I think it's called Con-Ed or something, Connex or something. Connex Ed. Basically it's a tech company for colleges and stuff like that. And I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of this group and this company, everything about it. So I just wanted to give her that. She know I tell her every day, but I wanted to let y'all know that
it's lit.
That's lit. That's what's up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Jeff, too, like just from me coming into, data analytics brand new, like I have no previous background with this, and you really got me feeling a lot more comfortable, and also seeing how I could tie in my previous skill set with everything. Like I'm excited for the future to see where these classes take me as well. And I'm actually really, you're living proof that that you can make it. So
heck yeah, right. And it's not just about being a data person. And I hope the other takeaway is that data is in everything. So you don't have to just be an analyst. You don't have to be an executive in data. You could be a brand manager, a brand director, a CMO. You could, be a salesperson and make a whole bunch of commission. And using data can make you the best salesperson ever, right? There's so many different pathways. And so just be thinking about how data, where you want to go, and think back to like these conversations about, hey, can data and understanding and working in data help me, be better at my job or transition into something that I care more about? And it was my objective to show y'all the fun side, the things that don't really get, it's almost like people be gatekeeping, like white people don't want to let us know. Like, because I'm one of like, and not just pat myself on the back, like I'm one of the most like professional, like best people in Frito-Lay in the marketing department with Excel and shit and pivot tables. And I got senior directors looking at me like, damn, like I'm amazed at how you put all that together, because I spent so much time doing the dirty work. Once you get all that shit down and you get to focus mainly on just the insights, that's when the stuff get fun and it's easy.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like you got to kind of grind out with the dirty work a little bit first, work your way up and get your way.
Because I was worried about the secret. I'm like, hold on now. What? We got a code?
So it's good to know that, but I'm gonna tell y'all, knowing that is foundational and it can apply to a lot of tech companies and shit. But in marketing and like insights and data analytics of these food companies like Pepsi or working at Procter and Gamble and stuff like that, not as much. Like, what if I told you that look up category manager? You know what a category manager does? They decide with the company, with the Walmarts and the Krogers, what the aisle looks like at Walmart.
I learned so much. I've been learning so much over these last couple of weeks, including like I have a close friend that's a product manager for Microsoft. He does nothing but tell everybody else what to do. I'm like, what? 6 figures. I'm like, this is crazy. So it is a lot to dig up.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to offer out there. So
I know my end goal is 6 figures.
Where the money reside? Where the money reside?
I know that's right.
I had one question about the classes though. I had like, today is my first meeting that I ever had with like Be Nimble or anything today at all. I spoke previously with Winnie, but I haven't had any like invitation to the classes. Like I wanted to join into the classes as well, and I just hadn't seen that in my email or like on the actual Slack app here.
Okay.
What are the classes supposed to be and stuff like that? Because I don't see that.
Like classes like this right here.
Yeah, is this what it is? Like, is it like, are we taking like classes like where we be tested and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't informed.
No, that's the coursework. Oh, that's the coursework for the actual like data analytics program.
Yeah.
So you'll go through that. You should get a link to be able to have access. You'll get a link to be able to start and register with the class. But then we have program managers like Calvin and Mike that you can all meet with, and then it'll be myself as well as it pertains to data analytics for like office hours to help guide you and answer any questions to support you going through it. And then we do like these types of office hours, or these like chats where we invite people from the industry to come out and talk to you about how it's being applied.
Okay.
So
yeah, I spoke to Calvin. Calvin and I spoke on the phone. I just didn't get the link for the actual like, classes are the the
Ah.
course that you mentioned.
Got you.
Yeah.
So I would recommend following up with Winnie, and she'll be able to make sure that you get it.
Okay.
So yeah, it is free here. It's not free for everybody else, and then they give us codes. So those codes come through. It might just be in process, but you'll get
Okay.
access.
Yeah, that's cool. I just wanted to make sure I'm on track.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you know, it is self-paced, so you don't have to worry about being behind or not.
Mhm.
Cool. Anybody else got anything?
I will email you my other questions.
Hey, I'm here too if you want to. Like, no worries at all, man. I got time. I know this is all I have for tonight. If you don't, but I can wait for the email too.
Okay, I'll stay on. I'm just being respectful of other people.
Gotcha. Yeah, everybody's hopping off when they want to, so it's all good. Did anybody else have anything?
I was gonna say I have some questions, but I need to pull it or take a look at the data on my work. It's for work. There's
Okay.
some advice, but I'll email you.
Hey, cool. Look, I mean, let me know. Either one works for me. I'm happy to help. Everybody else good?
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Well, I guess class is dismissed. Stay on if you have any questions.
For sure. So Jeff, came on late. I appreciate your approach, the energy, and breaking it down. So I saw you did so a little bit of background about me. Going back, re-enrolling to finish up my undergraduate degree. I was working with a fintech firm, but it was a lot of moving pieces. In my situation, I'm really I'm coming from the grave, trying to go to heaven.
Right.
And from life,
One
so
second. I'm listening. I'm sorry. I had to close these blinds.
yeah. So coming back, so my major's in finance, and I'm having a minor in information system management. I'm debating if I want to go because initially I was double majoring. I realized it was super technical, so I just put in a minor, and I was debating if I should get the master's because now, I mean, I seen it coming. Like when I first came in, and I be around different crowds. You feel me?
Yeah.
And sometimes you be the only black person, so you got to represent and break the stereotype, show that you're interested, you're curious, you can speak, you can follow up, you can hang, you right?
Right.
So some people took keen interest in me, and like people in tech, like they was putting me up on game with different like conferences and shit like that, and what you should be looking out in the next couple of years. So that's why I took the minor and having it on my resume. But I now here it's like building the skill set, really like building the skill set. I could talk about it, I understand it, but now can I do the work? Like you said, doing the dirty work, so you have the experience, the exposure. So when you're in leadership, you could, be able to decipher if something doesn't look real or not, right?
Right.
Right. So I look forward to the dirty work, really, because that's what really builds. That's
Character.
what makes the job easier. Yeah,
That makes you lit, bro. Makes the job so much easier.
for sure. But I was like timid or like I didn't believe in myself that I could do this type of work. Cause I'm like, like some of these kids, I mean, obviously not coming, you can't compare apples to oranges, but like some of these kids been doing it or been exposed to it. So that's why I be around them and I be just listening. So now it's like, okay, just building more confidence. I got 8 classes in total, finished my undergraduate. I'm playing around if I want to get the master's in information system management. But in my opinion, like just, having a degree, having these certificates, having my network, and being around like the case competitions, the hackathons, the recruiting events, just being in that atmosphere. Because I don't really want to go back to school unless it's like it's going to be like, woo, like the ROI is going to be crazy. And I'm like, all right, I got to get the master's. But if I could get it with just the combination, because I was with the fintech firm, and like you said, like the doubling salary, somebody did research for me and they called me, an OG actually, that works in tech. He works in tech for a banking company now, and they give him bitcoins to go into the dark web to see what's going on, just to build new systems and softwares to be prepared for new hackers. And since COVID hit, a lot of stuff went down, and some of these institutions that didn't have like strong firewalls or a system in place, they got hit hard. Like he was telling me stories. I was like, damn, they took that much? And it's like, yes. So it's impressive, and it's like it's levels to it. Like I know you said you about to go to Portugal, like different countries like Israel, Japan, they are so advanced in technologies in certain sectors. So it's like, we catching up. The West Coast got it because the West Coast is not too far from the Pacific, where Japan and some of these Asian countries where, I mean, they futuristic, so I say all that to say I'm hungry, I'm in it. I appreciate it. I got to hop on your call to see a brother and see the way you was talking and the energy. That's just resonated with me. And and so I look forward to my salary tripling for real. But first, let me get this degree, get the skill set, continue to network, earn my stripes, right? Like be in the hackathons, really work on presentation skills, do research too, because like my school, you went to Indiana. Indiana is respected in Indiana. Indiana University is respected statewide, countrywide. I go to University of Florida, and so you already know the game. So so it's very similar structure. Old, not like old money. You know what I'm saying? People.
It's a lot of old money though.
Yeah. So they trying to get some new money now. They trying to bring the tech. They behind, but they made a huge investment that's going to close it is closing the gap.
Man, you well in tune.
Yeah, but I follow different stuff on social media. Like I would just be following just things just to follow it. I'd be like, what I'm interested in. I try to put myself in that area, because there's so much you could do on your own. But if you're in that area, you might run into something, run into a poster, a person, or something that's gonna put you on game. It's like, damn, bro, I've really been thinking about this. Thank God it fell on my lap the way it did, man, because I'm in the jungle searching and I don't know where I'm really going sometimes. You feel me? So